Hey folks, I'm really excited because we have a phenomenal demo today with Will from VGS, all about how they've built a security platform powered by Snowflake as a native application. Will, it's great to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to give a demo.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so to set up the demo, I already have the app installed, but when I run through a demo, I like to really set up a story. I'm going to create a fresh database right here. And I have some synthetic customer data. This is not real customer data, just so you know. This is just some fake data that we produced for the demo. And what I'm setting up here is a typical customer table with some PII in it. Name, email address, and social security number. You can see here, that's what the table looks like right here. I'm also going to set up another table, which you can use for joining to it or whatnot as well. And this one is going to be built here. All right, so if you look at how this table gets produced, you'll notice that I have a social security number right there as well. A lot of companies, sometimes that's the only number they have to join on. So it's important that they tokenize this in a way to where they can still join on it so their analyst workflows will still work. Now, for the application, or first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create some demo roles here that we have where a senior analyst, an analyst, and a data owner. And these are all the permissions that they need. It's typical permissions for getting access to the tables that I just produced. So let me just produce those guys real quick. That takes a second. All right, that's been produced. And now I'm going to grant access to the application because our application manipulates the data within the tables to do the tokenization. So the application itself needs to have access to the tables in order to tokenize. Okay. So that's what these guys do. All right. All right, and step 6, I'm going to go to the app now. So there's my little note to make sure I don't get stuck in my demo. And I'm going to go to the app. And this app has already been integrated. There's a whole step for integrating the app between Snowflake and our service as well. And I'm going to go ahead and show you first data classification. Now, a lot of companies, CISOs and data security officers, they want to employ a data classification framework. A lot of them use red, yellow, green. Like red data is typically things like social security numbers, driver's license numbers, things you can like steal someone's identity with. Yellow would be something like a confidential data that companies would use to like make sure they obfuscate email addresses. They don't want getting the email addresses out and whatnot. And then green data could be, a pet's name or whichever, things like that. Instead of saying this user needs to have access to this data, they'll say a user with this role needs to have access to red or green. Yeah. And that way they don't need to apply specific policy specifically for every user. It's just a classification of the data itself.
Okay. Makes sense.
So what our service does, and it's pretty easy to add one here. I'll just go ahead and add, say, green for account admin, let's say. What this is doing, it's establishing a masking policy for us the second I do that. So right now a masking policy just got produced. Okay. So now let's go to where the actual magic happens, tokenization. Okay. So you saw the tables that I produced earlier. They were a customer data table and an account summary table. I'm going to first tokenize the customer data table. Okay, and hit configure. All right. Now this is all the fields within the customer data table. You got to choose the key, and that's we're going to have that be automatic eventually. And I'm going to choose which data to tokenize. I want to tokenize the first name. Now these particular alias formats that we have, when you do tokenization, you can do a format preserving tokenization. Things like just changing the numbers within a credit card, but preserving the last 4 or preserving the first 6, so you have the bank ID and everything there. That's what these formats do. And these things are described on our API docs and things like that. But just for sake of the demo, I'm just going to use everything as a UUID. Okay. And last name UID, I want to obfuscate the email, the social security number, driver's license number. And let's go ahead and say, hide Fido's name. Okay. Now let's apply a data classification to this. Again, we're not applying a role to it, we're applying a data classification to this. And you'll remember from the data classification, I'll just go back there really quick. Oh shoot, I have to start over again. We probably have to go to that. Data owner has access to red, senior analyst has access to yellow, and analyst has access to green. All right. Let me just do this again really quick. It'll be fast, I promise. ID. Let's choose these guys. Social security number, driver's license number, and pet name. All right. And then for first name, I'm going to choose yellow. And last name is yellow. Email address would be yellow. Social security number, that's higher risk. So I'm going to choose red. Driver's license numbers, red. And pet name, green. Okay. And I'm going to hit my tokenize button and let the application do its magic. Now what's happening here, it's priming the job, and it's going to set a job in motion that will reach out to the VGS service, get a token, and replace the value with the token while storing the real value in our vault. Okay? You see tokenization started. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and move to another table really quick. Account summary data. And here, I'm going to choose the key there. And we don't want to do anything with account nickname. Let's just get rid of these guys. And again, account social security number, let's just make that a UUID and classify that guy as red. Okay, and I'm going to tokenize. Okay. Now the app, like I said, it submits some jobs and runs things in the background. As soon as this thing gets started, I will switch to the monitoring slide or monitoring page. And you'll see, and you see I've been running a lot of these things lately. The first job that I just submitted for customer data is already done. And this guy's still running. So while that's finishing up, why don't I just go and show you like what the tables actually look like now. So if you remember from this query, when I created the customer data, this is what it looked like. You can see the data plain as day. But now, if I were to run the query now, and I'll just run this same query, select star from customer data, it's tokenized. Okay. First name, last name, email, and social security number and driver's license number are all tokenized. So that's what really makes the data secure. And what's great about the token is that it's deterministic. So I can, if I tokenize the exact same value on another table, I can still build a join off of that table just as I would before. All right, so let's go to where we want to reveal the data within Snowflake. First thing we need to do is set up the reveal. Now what this set of commands do is, since I told you we set up a masking policy when we did the data classification, well, we need to apply the masking policy to the columns that we just tokenized. Okay? And that's what this set of commands do. First we assign the masking policy to the tag, and then we assign the tag to the columns. And I'll just run these guys really quick. All right, great. Now we'll be able to reveal the data within Snowflake. Now this is important because a lot of the customers that we talked to about this, they need to be able to tokenize out of Snowflake, but to reveal within Snowflake. A common use case is I need to send a file to a partner, and the partner doesn't have my tokens, but they do need to have some of the data that needs to be protected. But of course, you know, they can't use the token, they have to use a real value. So let's just go ahead and run this really quick. Now, I'm going to first run it as an analyst. Okay. And you'll notice, now what's going on right now, it's reaching out to our API, and it's switching the tokenized value with the real value. Now, analyst only has access to pet name, and you can see that pet name's been revealed. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and switch to data owner. And now you'll remember that data owner has access to everything. Okay. Data owner. Yeah, here we go. There we go. And let's run this command again. And you'll see that data owner can see everything. There you go. IP address, there we go. Name, email address, social security number, driver's license. There
That's
you go.
awesome.
Yeah. Now, there is one other use case, like I was saying. A lot of our customers want to be able to tokenize outside of Snowflake. And if you're an application developer on Snowflake, that's actually a pretty big use case for tokenization, because there'll be cases where they can't even have any value in their system whatsoever. So they have to tokenize before it even goes in, even at the front end. So we have an API that will enable that to happen. So the first thing I want to do is I want to say, first I want to find, I'll just have another social security number here, for instance. And I'm going to go over to our API in Postman here, and I'm going to tokenize it using our API. Okay, send. And you can see the return gives me a tokenized value. I'm going to take that, and this is what would be coming into Snowflake from an outside application running through APIs or whatnot. Okay, so you'll see that I'm about to insert a record for Todd's checking, and this is Todd's tokenized Social Security number. Okay, and this is the real value right here. And let's just run this. Okay, I've inserted one record. That's great. So now let's go to the reveal, and let's first run it as an analyst who does not have access to the data. And let's see if we can find Todd's checking. There's Todd's checking, and you see that there's Todd's thing. But now let's run it as a data owner. And here, let's find Todd's checking. It would be at the top of this list. And there's Todd's checking right there, and there's Todd's Social Security number. That is one of the biggest use cases. And for us, the combination of VGS and Snowflake right there makes it really, really powerful.
Will, that was an awesome demo. I learned a lot about VGS, and I love how you guys have built a native application on Snowflake.
Great. I had a lot of fun showing the demo to you, and a lot of fun being here.
Where should people go to learn more?
They can go to www.vgs.io.
Perfect. Thanks again for joining me in the studio today.
All right, thanks a lot.
And folks, if you want to learn how to build your next application on Snowflake, check out developers.snowflake.com. And if you want to see the full interview with Will today, be sure to check out the link below. My name is Daniel Myers. See you next time.